because planting native also reduces a lot of costs within maintenance, because you don't require to keep an eye on the plants as much as you do with non-native plants, because they do originate from that area. But that took a little bit of convincing for some of the adults, as well as with my original Clean and Green project, working with the police officers and being able to clean the area and plant a garden there was also something that took some time to make sure that we all as a community could do it.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Again, may I request Dr. Mande and a few of my colleague directors who have joined, if they have any questions, if they can ask. And of course, many others can ask, but they need to write separately because we are running out of this slotted time. Dr. Mande, is he there? Any of my colleague, Dr. Sriram, Dr.
Good
Tiwari?
morning. This is Sriram.
So Dr. Mande has just come. So then after that, Sriram. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoyed both the talks. All the best to both the girls. Rakesh has already asked questions to Adya, and I did ask to the girl and Vinisha. So we're very proud of you, both of you. Keep up the good work. And if you want any help, send email or WhatsApp or something to me anytime, or any of the persons that you see here, directors of CSR Labs. Okay. Take my number from any of the organizers. They will have my phone number with them, and either email or WhatsApp. And any help, you just tell us to take your work.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Mande. Dr. Sriram, you had some question?
Yeah, Vinisha, I was at some point of time, was interacting with the Zion people for some other work. This pattu sari business, the silk saris of the south.
Yes.
Most women would prefer that those saris are ironed with the heavy iron boxes, where the heat would be less and the weight of the box is what takes care of the silk from not getting spoiled.
Okay.
So how do you handle that? Because now you have reduced your iron box weight.
Yes.
Right? This is typical South Indian temple going stuff, right?
Yes.
So how do you handle that in this thing? Can the heavy boxes also be done using solar energy?
It can be done. The light boxes were actually designed to reduce strain on the joints for the ironing vendors. But if they do need to iron with the heavy weight, then I can very well design an attachment on the ironing box for them to attach so that they can iron the silk saris. That can be done.
Thank you. And to Adya, there's a small other information which we found here in CLRI. The return of the cyclones again and again, and we were losing many of our trees. And recently, when we worked with some botanists and all those people, they found that the trees which were not native to our region were the ones which were falling off more during even a smaller cyclone than those which were native. The native trees were still hanging on to the winds and all that, while the non-native ones were giving away. So this is I thought I'll share with you some information which we had from CLRA's experience as well. Thank you.
Right. So Atya has already given indication that we are running out of this given time. What I also suggest, besides these two young girls who have got in touch with us and they spoke so well today, they are a very inspiring story for all the young boys and girls in today's time. So CSIR has 38 institutions across India. It has many regional centers, and all of these people are scientists. So I would encourage all of you to get in touch with the nearest CSIR institutions. And if you don't get response, of course, bother Dr. Mande, who is sitting in Delhi, and we will definitely respond. So thank you very much to all of you who have joined and given such wonderful time today, this morning. Thank you.
So we haven't ended here. It is only the two students talks that is over.
This part of the program, yeah.
Yes, and now we have a module called Ask the Scientist, and even you, Adya and Vinisha, you are also encouraged to ask. We have a wonderful panel for you.
You have met Dr. Rakesh Kumar here, who is the director of CSIR Lab NEERI. We have Dr. Sri Ram, who just asked you a question. He's the director of the labs CSIR CLRI. We have Dr. Tiwari, who's the director of NGRI in Hyderabad. We have Dr. Aswal, who's the director of NPL. Dr. Srinivasa Reddy, who's the director of IIIM in Jammu. We have Jyoti Madam. You can see her here. She's the former director of the Institute of Genetics from Osmania University. And we have Dr. Gagandeep Kang. She's the professor and the clinical scientist at Vellore. So may I request all the panelists to keep the video on, and we can just start the question answer session. So some of the questions, Dr. Rakesh Kumar will conduct this, and some of the questions are also coming to me on the private chat. So sir, whenever you take a pause, I will read out those questions.
So, we were in the second section of this program where we have asked senior people to be around here, right? So that if there are any questions which young students and researchers they want to ask, many of us are available here to give you answer. So please feel free and start asking questions to us in the chat box as well as separately that is being asked. So one question which had already come, which was relating to groundwater. Dr. Tiwari, can we see you on the video?
I'm there.
Right. So this question is saying that groundwater depletion, which is happening. There are two aquifers. One is shallow and the deeper. What is the interrelationship with this rainwater harvesting with regard to the shallow one and the deeper one? Because we have so much flood, it would actually be filling all our groundwater. That's the thought. So what is your thought on this issue?
Okay. If we see our country, we are bestowed with a very diverse geology, and 2/3 of the part of the country, is covered with the hard rock terrain, which is very different kinds of, and each terrain has a different setup of the aquifers. The kind of aquifer system you talk are primarily in the Ganga alluvial plain, and they are having two, probably even three, so multiple aquifer system. And if we see for the recharge with the percolation of the rainwater or even through the reservoirs, they primarily happen to the first aquifer system, and also recharge the second one wherever they are interlinked. But at the same time, if we go to the northern part of the Ganga basin, because of the structural setup, we see that the second aquifer is exposed in the north. So if we do intervention in the northern part, we will be directly recharging the second aquifer. So the point is, where do we make the recharge structure and our intervention plan, that will decide the aquifer which we are recharging, but primarily it recharges first aquifer.
So related question is for a common person, is that all cities are being asked to do rainwater harvesting in their housing societies, in their premises. Is it really helping out, or is just creating some problem for our nearby buildings if the water is not getting recharged? Because that's the directive which is across India.
So I think scientifically it is not so good plan, because if you take the terrains which are dominant by the granites, like take the example of Hyderabad, there are very few places where there could be possibility of recharge going to the underground level. There is a few tens of meters, sometimes a few meters only, a soil cover, which gets recharged very quickly with the rainwater. But if beyond that we store the water, it is flooding and also giving some impact on the our structure, our buildings, and you must have seen that moistures and the ponding of the water also leads to uh, growing of the insects, particularly the mosquitoes. So it's not very good in certain areas. But if by chance, if we are aware of the places where we should make the structure, and from these recharge pits direct all the waters which are being percolated down to that structure might help. So informally taking the step as you suggested might not be very good.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tiwari. The common question, of course, for students are that I want to make a rainwater structure in my housing society, in my building, or any place. So there is a need to understand what is there in the ground and what kind of soil it is to do this, right? Thank you for input. We'll have Dr. Sriram. This question which has come is exactly not the sector specific, but yes, the leather sector is one of our biggest sectors. So question is, lot of plastic is coming into our footwear, and it is actually harming environment. What is that scientific community is doing towards this? Are we doing
Thank
any innovation in this process?
Okay. The question is very correct because what has happened is that we get lot of PVC and PU based footwear coming in predominantly because of the cost factor. They were much cheaper than the leather footwear. Therefore, they are continuing. And in fact, the cheapest ones also have the recycled plastics use, which are causing a little bit of allergy and things like that to the foot. What is being done now is that there is a kind of emphasis by Government of India in terms of the standard specifications that are being brought in, wherein we have now started suggesting that certain carcinogenic and other compounds should not be used in the footwear manufacture. For instance, a recent guidelines talks about phthalates should not be present. This is one aspect which is being done. But more than anything, what is required also is that people wear footwear like those of leather, rubber, etc., which can be little bit more elastic than the plastic ones, so that it would accommodate for the growing feet, especially in the small children. So this is what needs to be done, but unfortunately, it is to be driven by the people because cost is the major factor here, which is driving you towards the let me call it the PVC or PU footwear.
Right. So on one side you have to get leather by killing animal, and other side you have plastic which has to be mined from earth, right? So where is the balance? How do we balance ourselves?
Again, here the balance is that we can have certain components of the footwear being made out of leather. One thing with respect to India predominantly is that we still have only leather from the dead animals, not the killed ones. We especially the cow buffalo systems are completely from the dead animal systems. There is a possibility that you can have some 40 to 50% of your footwear made out of leather, and the bottom part, what we call as the sole part, being made out of polyurethanes. This would take care of you.
Okay. Thank you, Sriram.
Sir, 1 second, please.
Yeah, please go ahead.
There is one question that came on my private chat box. It says, question for Director CLRI. How can the science practitioners bridge the gap between research and industry?
Okay. See, what we have been doing in this particular area is that leather has always been a traditional process technology based systems. Making of leather was by a system of from your ancestors and things like that. What the scientists have done is to develop baskets of technologies which can be applied at various levels. Say, for instance, there will be technology which can go to the village level. There can be technologies which can be used by the MSMEs, and there can be technologies which go to the large sector. So what researchers are doing here is to ensure that the technology that you develop is according to the need of the industry, not a uniform technology and force them to be applied. So the cost factor is where the researchers have started applying, and this is where we are very successful also.
Sir, one more question directed to you. It says here, any comment on why India's leather industry has gone down to number 3 and China and Bangladesh are coming up? What policies government can work on?
Yeah, here it is. See, we are not gone down to number 3 on terms of value. We have gone down in terms of the produce. That is a quantum in terms of square feet or whatever. Now, there are two different markets for leather. One is called as the large markets, small prices. This is where China has built up. India, Italy kind of people work on elite consumer markets, the fashion markets. And there it is gaining more high quality products for the high end markets. Therefore, India still continues to be the largest manufacturer of footwear and for the elite markets, while China dominates on this scope model, which is the large quantities, but for a smaller price model. Government has policy called as the India Footwear Leather and Footwear Development Policy, wherein the government of India has pumped in already about 4,000 crores into effluent treatment plants and also into the footwear sector to ensure that the growth is high order.
Yeah, thank you, Sriram. So a couple of other questions which are coming to me. So we are coordinating with each other. So Dr. Reddy, this question is for you. How do we run this multidisciplinary aspect of research? How important it is for CSIR also, and how students or the young ones can relate to it? Because job market sometimes is not very clearly defining whether they need multidisciplinary, although we keep saying we do multidisciplinary research.
Yes, good morning all. I think particularly am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, very well.
Okay. Let me congratulate both Vinisha and Adya. Fantastic presentation. I really enjoyed both of their presentations. Like a matured scientist, the way they presented and the way they answered questions. Again, coming back to question, I think multidisciplinary approach, of course, it's going to play a major role in the future, and even recent national education policy also emphasizing on that one. And particularly if you look at any domain, even if you want to get into industry job, they are looking for a multidisciplinary approach background in education. I think definitely it's going to play a role. And particularly the industry I came from, drug discovery process. So there actually people come from chemistry, biology, regulatory, and every aspect of drug discovery process is, as if you know something about each domain, then definitely can become successful. So like that, any other industry you can pick up. I think a multidisciplinary approach is going to play a major role. I encourage all students and get exposed, even if not be expert in all domains, at least get exposed to multidisciplinary areas. That's I can suggest.
So there was a related query as well. Triple IM Jammu is in Jammu and Kashmir, and there are a lot of job related issues. So how is the work that is being done at institute like Triple IM Jammu is going to generate jobs? Is there a local requirement or local job generation can happen?
Yes, definitely. Of course, we do some kind of skill developments also. Again, falling under our institute domain, and we educate them in developing some agro technologies. That is actually major things in part of this valley and this region. And another thing is drug testing and quality control, quality assurance. In that also we keep training them, and that can help them in actually fetching some jobs. So that one thing we are definitely doing. Even chemistry also. Of course, although we don't have chemical industries as such here, but definitely they can go to even nearby states like Punjab and other places. I think they have good number of industries in Samba area, particularly what I understood. So I am also relatively new here. I am also trying to understand more about this.
I think that's a question. So that's very important. Thank you, Dr. Reddy. There was this question from a researcher for Jyoti Madam, regarding what are her thoughts on gender parity when it comes to studying genetics?
Oh, gender parity, studying genetics. Genetics. You should not have any such thing, as far as you are studying genetics, which is an emerging science. And, genetics, is giving equal opportunities to, any sex as such. And particularly when you take the field of genetics, much is into research. And there should not be any difference, in terms of, gender issues there.
Absolutely. So, in fact, for any discipline, gender issues shouldn't be there at all.
Yes, yes.
So that's well taken. So there was also this issue of a lot of people believe that when we moved from normal pure biological sciences, what we used to call it biology, in
classical
some cases, and
subjects,
classical thing,
yeah,
and now we have biotechnology. And is that actually helping young entrepreneurs to become good practitioners, or is it that we have mixed up two things?
Yeah. See, actually, this biotechnology, is a bit that is really getting people, confused. But, there are good applications of this biotechnology subject also. You can become, entrepreneurs. And particularly, so many labs. Now we are seeing, development of vaccines and, all these research laboratories, private and even government labs, there is a much chance for them. Biotechnology students, this is there since long time, they are in a confused state. Are we really into a good stream and all? Of course, biotechnology is also important. It has a lot of applications, not only in research, also, serving in industries.
Thank you very much. There are some more coming for Dr. Kang. Is he around? So there is a young researcher who is asking that is the second strain of COVID which is coming, would this current vaccine help us? Besides that, whether there could be third strain or fourth strain which will come. So how are we going to deal with it? Is Dr. Kang here? So if she's not around, I'll actually request Madam you only to answer this question.
Okay. See, actually, the new strain which has come up, it has, the mutations which are of unusual nature, because huge mutations it is got. And then it is also, a bit virulent, like, it's causing a lot of infections and all. And it may not be, having, serious consequences. That's what, they are still working on it. And people are saying that this particular, because virus has a tendency to mutate. Maybe once or twice in a month is a general way, that it has to mutate. But, this particular one, the new strain, which we are seeing in the UK, that is, N501Y, this particular virus strain is having a bit of more mutations in it.
Okay.
And that's the reason, but still it's underway. They are still not confirmed whether it is really having consequences in terms of, mortality and all. But it is, these viruses, they have a tendency of keeping on, changing. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think question is probably coming from an angle that today we have second strain and then be third or something else. But when it comes to testing, we are not testing for their mutations all the time. That's being done by researcher, which is not being done normally by normal, what you call it, RT-PCR test or other tests that's being done, right?
Yes, that is very true. And I think, sir, this sort of a new mutation has also, people are of the opinion, and there's a possibility that, it must have been with the immunocompromised individual, many of the conditions where immune suppression is there. And that will really lead to this sort of, there'll be a lot of accumulation of these mutations is very much possible in such individuals. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. So
because because of their high viral loads, these individuals, when they are infected, they cannot tolerate those high loads of virus, and then when they are given this plasma therapy, and the plasma therapy is also given once and sometimes twice they give it, because for such immune compromised individuals, and a lot of antibodies will be generated, and with that, that will induce a lot of mutations in the host as well as in the virus. So that could be one of the possible reasons for this strain to have so many mutations. That's for its survival.
Yeah, I know.
Lot of selective pressures, for its genetic diversity.
Yeah, this is one domain where people like me are very, very, challenged. We don't really understand. So we are all regretting why did we not study biology when we were young, so that we understood what was going on right now. Thank you, madam. It was really nice and explaining this. There was this question for Vanessa as well. If somebody wants to buy the solar cart, how much would it cost? That question is not very clear.
That
but
she already answered.
That's answered, right?
Yeah. No, there's a question from Vinisha.
Okay.
Vinisha says,
can you just ask?
Vinisha says, question for anyone from the panel. Micro farming is becoming popular in Western countries. It is basically farming on your own produce in a garden or backyard. Do you think it is applicable here, or will it affect job opportunities in the country? Is it better than large scale farming?
Okay.
So any one of the directors can answer, she says.
So I'm not sure. So I'll answer if that can be done quickly.
Yes, please answer.
I don't see Dr. Aswal here. So micro farming can only be limited to the small areas or in cities, but possibly for very specific plants we can do it, but not for large scale farming, like when we talk about rice and wheat and some such things. But if I want to do for vegetables, spices, and some such things, that is already started. The third one, which has started happening in few countries like Israel and one or two countries in Europe, where they're making the whole building with multiple floors, where they are actually growing all these tomatoes and vegetables inside, in any environment and any season. So maybe the way our population is growing in future is going to be like that. If we have more demand and requirement, which is not going to come from the farms so much, from centralized. So that's something which is coming up. Let's see how it goes. So there are techniques like aeroponics and hydroponics which are being used to grow some of these plants, and which can possibly be done at home. Large scale, maybe not at this stage. In future, it may happen.
Thank you for your opinion, sir.
Thank you. So we have actually 3-4 more questions, but we'll stop here. We will try to answer offline to many of you. I would like to thank all the directors who have joined, and Dr. Jyoti, Dr. Gagandeep Kangs, she was here, but I think probably because the time slot got little extended, she had to leave. So all my fellow directors and colleagues, thank you very much for joining this session. And now for next set of activity under this slot, please go ahead, Dr. Atya.
So maybe Dr. Shekhar Mande would like to say something before we end this session. Is he here?
Yeah, so it was very good to hear to the two young girls about their innovations. And I would just like to say that the spirit of innovation lives in India in the younger people. And if anyone wants any kind of help, any of the younger people or even older people, they should not hesitate in contacting CSIR labs closest to them. And we'll try to see how we can promote this spirit of innovation amongst people. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And now taking this program forward. Thank you, Dr. Rakesh Kumar sir, for conducting this this session and making sure that everybody could get their answers. There are still a number of questions, but since we already started late due to all the technical snags, we will respond to all those questions offline. And now we are going to move on to an exciting session, which is a debate. And I'm going to hand it over to the moderator, Dr. Ushi. I hope she has joined. Ushi, are you here?
Yes, very much, Atya.
Okay, great. Welcome, Ushi, and all the participants of the debate. But before we start the debate, we would like to introduce to you our moderator. Mohinder, could you please play that clip?
Thank you so much. It means a lot for me to be here amongst all of you. So a great thank you to Atya. I know Rakesh also very well, so thank you so much in case you're around. It's always awesome to see you. And I'm very grateful because I would say that, thank you for your taste, in people. And thank you for your kindness and thank you for your friendship. I'm here only because of a friend. And I believe that when I go back, I might have another 4 or 5 friends, or I'm going to have a few more enemies. And I'm ready to take the risk. Because at the end of the day, if you don't take risks, they say you will always remain where you are. I will make this really crisp because we're running short of time. And ladies and gentlemen, a debate is not about arguments. A debate is not about what we see at 9 p.m. on television channels. A debate is about a bunch of very intelligent, very mature, very experienced people who are sitting together to share a viewpoint and respect a viewpoint that may not be ours. I always believe that debates stem from respect. It's questioning evidence. It's questioning a stance. It's also about the fact that if you don't change your thinking, you'll be stuck to the same experience. So psychologically, it's been proven that debates encourage critical thinking. And I'm sure that all of you who are listening to us will have an idea across the world that as a scientist, or as anyone dealing with science, it's important to ask the right questions. It's also very important to keep, diminishing theories and bringing on something new. It's also very important to understand that everything new need not be the truth. So that's why they say there's lies, absolute lies, and statistics. So we need to be really careful with people who present everything as being the truth. And I believe we are here to stimulate our thinking. We're also here to understand that systemic changes are required. A lot of systemic changes are required to promote both men and women in leadership. And I'm of the firm belief of the word equanimity. And I believe that Atya has chosen a fantastic topic. And I'm sure that the participants are already ready and geared up. So in today's world full of information and chaos, just a small ant bite is enough for us to feel like it's a cobra bite. And I think we are really hyper exaggerated people. we get very excited. We start making lots of noise and we want the nation to know. And otherwise we believe we are the only ones who care about the world. Now, I believe that every one of us has a space in this world. And let me start with my statement, which is really strong. You do not live on earth, you're only passing through. And I think you should remember this very clearly, that we don't own earth. We are only passing through. And it's really important that when we are passing through, we give time, space, respect, and everything in spite of being fast, furious, but most importantly, having fun. So I know I've spoken to the participants. They're all doing fantastic. They are ready. Most of us have gotten maybe a few details which I asked them. It's going to be like this. We have some eminent judges who are actually watching out for the content of the debate. Atya, I'm sure you briefed the judges. So the judges are ready. Do I presume that?
Yes, let us just invite them to open their video. Madam Amina Wali, are you here?
If you can spotlight Amina, it will be really good. Amina and Atya.
Dr. Vijay Kulkarni.
Yeah, so Dr. Vijay and Amina, this is how we are running.
Have you both joined?
Yeah, Amina is there. I saw her. So just check about Vijay, please.
Can you just unmute and just say hello so we know you're here? I can see Dr. Kulkarni. Yes.
Yeah, he's there. He's there.
He's there. Yeah.
So the organizers, if you could, you should just pin the judges and myself and everyone else. You please spotlight as they come to speak. Now, for the benefit of the judges and all of us who are listening, it's very important to understand that there is against the topic and there is for the topic. Now, it's a very interesting twist to this debate where all the women will be speaking against the topic and all the men will be speaking for the topic. So we are just trying to understand mindsets. We're also trying to understand how we can grow. And we're also just clearly trying to understand how we can support more men and women, especially women, to come into leadership roles. So we are supportive. We're not trying to debunk any theory. We're not stepping in 100% with any bias. And I believe that we have no right to ascribe genders to emotions or traits. You cannot say that strong people are men, weak people are women, etc. So all the participants have been briefed. They're going to be great listeners. We are going to rebut with respect. We are going to react maybe, but most importantly, respond and have utmost respect for the opponents. So to begin this, all of us are scientists, all the participants are scientists. So I'm not getting into their position, etc. We have a very young lady. We're going straight into the debate now. The topic is against, the debater is going to be speaking against the topic. She's a very young scientist, one of the lucky ones still not married. She's based in Jalandhar. Of course, she loves everything which is nature. From what I understood from my conversations with her, she's into yoga, swimming, and almost everything that nature can offer. She loves to be a traveler. She loves to watch the sunrise and the sunset. And she says, I love me and I love my mom. So at the end of the day, she loves two women. That is she and her mom. Okay. And she specifically mentions that if there's one thing she would die for, if given a last chance, ladies and gentlemen, that is a sizzling hot brownie. To welcome the first participant in today's debate, who's going to be talking against the topic. Ladies and gentlemen, give a virtual round of applause to our first participant, Mori RC. The stage is all yours, Mori.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. So a very good morning to the respected ladies and gentlemen. So first of all, I would like to thank this conclave for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you, Dr. Ushi, ma'am, for the nice introduction. So first of all, I wish to share my happiness that we could get an opportunity to understand what systematic changes are required to promote leadership in science with our great eminent leaders that is going to be debated by our team today. So before moving into the topic, let me start with a saying about our great leaders, that great leaders don't set out to be a leader. So they always set out to make a difference. So that's why even now we are speaking about the remarkable differences created by those eminent great leaders. So if you take science, we all know it shapes our society and economy to a great extent. So if you take leadership in science, it's the ability to motivate a team consisting of your different group of researchers all together to achieve a common target. So that is what we could able to understand everybody of in the team to bridge the gap between research and industry, our innovations and implementations, to establish our vision and to deliver our organizational objectives and everything. So there are several leadership skills which a leader has. I want to talk about 4 C's that is highly required to make a systematic change to promote our leadership in science from our eminent leaders. So first of all, I would like to start with first C is collaboration. So collaborative leadership. My dear friends, let me start with some examples. If you take sports, there are a lot of eminent leaders. You know, Dian Chand, who is a football player under whose name our National Sports Day is being celebrated. My dear friends, it's not because he won 3 Olympic medals, that's why his birthday is being celebrated as National Sports Day. He made Indian team to win 7 out of 8 Olympic matches. So that made him as a leader. That's what, being a science practitioner, collaboration is highly important to create a great impact to promote leadership in science. If you take Nehruji, he made everybody, you know, we could even visualize everybody of India to walk in the path of independence. And he shaped our educational system like anything that could even reach out to the rural children of country. So next C I want to talk about is creativity. Now, how creative our eminent main leaders are. If you could take, there are several physicists, chemists, mathematicians. I just want to take an example of one scientist, physicist, Rutherford. Now, he's a born scientist. He's born for that. He won Nobel Prize. It is not surprising that he won Nobel Prize because he's made for that. But, that's what great man theory of leadership says. So there is a theory, man theory of leadership, for leadership, that says about how our born leaders are born with such leadership skills. So it is not surprising that this man was born to win a Nobel Prize, but he made 15 of the students to win the same Nobel Prize what he won. That's where his leadership proved how collaborative he is and how creative it is. And that is what we need to put exactly into our science to bring it to a greater extent, to transform it, really. So the third C, which I want to talk about, is confident. So courage. I will start with courage. So if you say courage, the first thing which will come to our mind is military, army. No, what situations they are living with, we know very well. No, we couldn't even bear 10 degrees, 15 degrees in Jalandhar. For me, they are living in an extreme climatic cold conditions and extreme hot conditions in the borders of our country to protect our natural resources. How many, my dear friends, how many of them know that this will be the last call to their family or friends or their closed ones? No, I really want to salute them at this moment for the sacrifices they made for to bring our country to protect our resources and to protect us. So we should be confident to create an impact. That's what the leadership skill that we need to learn from our eminent men leaders. The fourth C I want to convey is confident. If you say confident, there are several leaders, but I want to state about a person who lived as a legacy. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our missile man, who could be a better example than him, my dear friends. He created such a great impact in every mind. If you could say dream, every young mind, if you ask a leader, they will definitely say APJ Abdul Kalam. That's what the impact this man has created. So what else we could learn? All the C's are, that's why it's very important to create a great impact in promoting leadership at institutional level or societal level to create a greater impact. Even if you take least to your home, we know all our fathers who always lead us from behind. If every child you ask, they will say their father as the hero. So that's where right from the home to the society level, they created all the men leaders have created a drastic impact to transform our country to a great extent. So my dear friends, I just wish to convey that being a citizen of our country and being a science practitioners, we should learn all this right leadership skills from these eminent leaders, and we should import them in the right place to develop our science and technology to meet our country's mission and vision for a self-reliant India. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Timer. And I'm sure that the timer is like doing a great job. So the time allotted for the benefit of the judges is 4 minutes. So maybe we are giving a 15-second grace. So just please watch out as much as possible. Debaters are requested to stick within the time limit so that we make up for the time that we lost. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a great virtual round of applause. You can use your reactions and, just give a great virtual round of applause to all our participants. It encourages people. So the next debater that's coming by is going to be speaking for the topic. Now, quickly keeping it, I'm just forced to quote what Kalamji said once, because I just heard his name. And he always said, whenever I've had a conversation with him, which I've been lucky to have, he always just said, you don't just wake up one day and become a butterfly. You have to die and be born again. And I guess it's something which really sticks by me, that nothing in life comes easy. Quickly moving on to our first participant who's going to be speaking for the topic. This gentleman, he originally belongs to Shillong, a beautiful place, if I remember correct. He represents the Northeast, which is so beautiful. I love the people. There already exists a very matriarchal system over there. Grandmothers, daughters, sisters are all given superb importance, and they come from a society which is. I asked him, what is it that is your philosophy in life? And the participant, who's from Shillong, currently sitting in Gangtok, which is even more beautiful, he said that I have failed many times, but I'll never stop trying. He also told me that, he's currently working as a scientist in Palampur. So over there, he's had an opportunity to work with thousands of MOSME in the rural areas of Himalayas. Not many of us have had the opportunity to do that. If you ask him his personal likes, you can see he's not smiling much, which means that he might not have great teeth. He's got a sweet tooth. He loves sweets, and he keeps putting on weight, for which he runs to the gym. Ladies and gentlemen, with a great round of virtual applause, let's welcome our next debater who's speaking for the topic, our scientist Rakshak, who's currently in Gangtok. Over to you, Rakshak Kumar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope I am easily audible.
Yes.
And it's that was an amazing introduction, ma'am. Thank you so much. And so I'll begin with the topic because now we have to talk in favor of women leadership in science. So when we talk about women leadership in science, I want to start with a very interesting fact figure. Let's not talk only about science. Let's talk about science, technology, engineering, and STEM. So it's called acronym is STEM. So one very recent study from UN has published that in globally, out of 3 research publications, women publish very less, so they are paid less in Western countries. However, in India, out of every 3 research article which is coming, in every single paper, women are the authors. So things are different, but still in workforce, they are represented very few. So the condition is very harsh. And I don't know, maybe it is our unconscious biasness that at times we don't relate women with STEM. Suppose I just will cite one funny example. One of my friends just cracked a joke. He said, "Kitna acha hota na agar tumhare sare kind of pink color ke hote." I mean, I don't know why, but we don't accept them in STEM. So coming ahead, like what may be the reason for this? Now my humble opposition cited a lot of examples: Abdul Kalam, Rutherford, all men. Do we have a relatable role model in women in STEM in particular? See, our own head, my director, our DG, everyone we relate. We want to become like them. But what about women? They have very few. Looking at this, talking about this, I can cite an incident which happened in Dehradun. Dehradun Director Conference was there, and more than Dehradun Declaration, what was getting trolled in social networking site was a group picture of all the directors. So you can easily guess what it could be. It was all male dominant. Things are changing. We have a few directors in CSIR system who are female. So one thing is role model. Another important point which restrict women in STEM are age. Yes, age. At the age of 30, when we complete our PhD, when it is the peak of the career for us, We male, we focus on getting the job, getting settled, and women, they have social criteria. They first want to get married. If they are not married till 35, it's a big issue. And if by 40, if they don't have baby, they are not acceptable. So like you can imagine the struggle they put on extra. So can we do something for them? If we want to promote women in STEM, can we have age relaxation for women? Yes, we have women scientists too, but that is only temporary position. Can we have age relaxation for them in permanent position? And another thing, what about, I like to talk about the personality trait. When it is a maternal system, maternal setting, we love our mother. King may be, we may say that father is the king or whatever my humble opposition said, but we love mother. We want to go and have sleep on her nap. I mean, in maternal setting, she is the leader of the house, she runs the family. But when it comes to our office, if she is kind-hearted, her colleagues will say, you need to be a man, get toughen up, you are a leader. And if she becomes like toughen up and be a leader, then often it is said in bed, she is a difficult woman to deal with. So can we change the mindset? Like if you know about Jessica Anderna, she is being criticized to be very open and kind-hearted. And but she says that her strength is being empathetic. So we need to change the system where we have been biasness about the gender. Now, Department of Science and Technology is doing one gender audit. So that is going on, and Ministry of Science and Technology has started like grading of institutions like IITs and NITs on the basis of gender biasness. So things are changing, but we need to do more changes. Yes, we need to do more changes, and our mind setup should change. We should be able to accept our female gender in leadership role. With age relaxation and other benefits, we'll see more employment of women, and then see them leading the STEM. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Time up.
Yes, sir, I'm done. I'm done.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So there we go. Very quickly between us. You know what we have done. You know, for ourselves, it said dies with us, whereas anything that we do for other people always lives on. So I think like together we can make a huge difference to everybody. Thank you, Doctor, and thank you, Mori, for being great opening batsmen and batswomen. Move on to the next speaker of the debate, who's going to be speaking against the topic. Now, the young lady from Mumbai. She's obviously a scientist, but you know what? She would die for pink pasta sauce. Okay, pink sauce pasta. I'm sorry. And at the end of the day, she says, if there's one last chance to eat something, she still wants to eat pink sauce pasta. So to the lady who believes the fact that she's undergone a lot of rigor in her academics, she says she shares a relationship with some of her guides, maybe the likes of Sas and Babu. She's seen a couple of people in the same positions. She's been a great example of what it is to overcome difficulties and currently be a mother to a beautiful toddler. She says, I can live without anybody, but not without that little girl. So ladies and gentlemen, to invite the next speaker, Mumbai, let's put our hands together and over to you, Aarti. Aarti.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can, Aarti.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Aarti from CSIR-NEERI. I'm working as a scientist in the field of climate change, and I would like to share my thoughts for today and how we need to promote the role of women in the science and technology and as well as other fields. So I started my career after my MTech in a construction industry, which, as we say, is dominated by males. So till I joined the construction industry, I had never ever faced any kind of discrimination either in my workplace or in my college or in my family. Everyone was supportive. And however, once I was asked to do my first assignment in the field, that was my first experience with the systematic unseen gender bias which I encountered when I was called to the field. And it was related to something which is very dear to women, that is shoes. So there was no safety shoes available for me to enter into the field. That is because of the size issue, and these protective equipments are designed for men whose size starts from 7 to 8. So there was no shoes for me. So I had to wear a bigger size of a shoes, which was always in my mind that I can trip down anytime. And I was very uncomfortable again to revisit the field because I never had safety boots. So this is all about a construction industry, which we call as a harsh industry for women. But what about the soft industry where we promote our women to enter? For example, the software industry. India, the data shows that 30% of the workforce in software industry is dominated by women. What about there? Even there in the International Journal of Rehabilitation Research, it has been found that the tables, the chairs, the keyboards are not designed with women in mind. So it affects the way the posture they are sitting, and it affects the way they are even typing. So this is about the soft industry, where we promote our women to join. So women are present everywhere, and in all leadership roles we have women in India as well as all around the globes. But what is the percentage share? In Indian Army, we have seen that there is hardly 5%. In Indian Navy, it is just 2% of share, which is dominated by female members. The same is the case with the Air Force. You can look at the cabinet ministries, the other sectors, even the institutions where we have IITs, IIMs. So we have very less share of female population at a leadership role, which is also because of the hidden obstacles which a woman face, which we miss it most of the times, which we can call it that there is a lack of empathy towards these hidden obstacles which are present. And these can start from the physiology of a male and a female, which is different. It has been quoted by the New York Occupational Health and Safety that the upper body strength of a male is 45 times more than a female, and which may be a reason which restricts a woman to enter particular field or any sector. So this is about the physiology characteristics which restrict. But what about the women are present in leadership roles, and yes, they are coming forward. But if you go back to your home, the primary owner of a house is always a female, the woman. The primary caregiver of a house is always a woman. So apart from the multiple constraints which they have restricted as a primary caregiver and owner, which restricts them from certain roles in their workplace, like they cannot manage their work timings if suddenly something is bombarded to them because they have because they have to take care of their child. So apart from these multiple constraints which a woman face, I would like to end with a line that that the world needs to be designed with women in mind, and this can only happen when women enter the workforce in a large share of population. Thank you.
Thank you, Aarti. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a great virtual round of applause to the speaker. And I was always told that a woman with a voice is always a strong woman. A man with a voice is supposedly a great leader, but a woman with a voice, let me tell you, is a very strong woman. So as we go along to the next speaker, who will be speaking for the topic, I think we need to just keep in mind that we have a lot of people who are working in Palampur today. 2 of them are from Palampur. This gentleman is working in Tirunelveli. A very warm, affable, jovial person. He says that he's a hard worker. When I asked him a couple of questions and I just wanted to know more about him, what I understood from him is he's very straightforward. He walks the path of truth. He's a very simple person. He loves to support the needy. Can you imagine? He's a gentleman who loves cooking. So lucky wife of his. And at the end of the day, he believes in uplifting all of them who are really needing it. So for a great human being and a superb scientist, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the next speaker, our very own Tillai Shivakumar from Tirunelveli. Welcome, Tillai. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, madam, for the nice introduction. I'm audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you. Very pleasant morning to everyone. And also thanks to the organizer for this wonderful opportunity. We all know the topic is that leadership and what are the importance and what are the systemic changes we needed for to promote the leadership. My dear friends, those who are in the opponent team, they talk about given the different women's leaders examples, and we can learn from them that can be important for to promote the leadership. But they forgot to represent and also recognize there are eminent women leaders also. They proved their leadership skill in those time and also the present time also. So I'm just mainly talk about the women's leaders that we can take as the example that we can promote our leadership skills. So I strongly says that women's always the better and great leader in the current women suppressing environment. They always show their present and they prove the leadership through various activities that can be used for our promoting leadership. So there are different leadership skill important for the women leaders. That the two factors are mainly important. That's the internal as the external factor. Internal means is the home, as a mother, as a wife, or as a sister. They made it. The external means their personal careers and how effectively they are managing both as well. This is the main basic for the women leaders. So there are different skills needed for the women's leaders, but I mainly going to talk the main important point is makes the women the better and great leaders. The first important thing is that time management and the work balance. So if you talk about the work balance and time management, women always the great. So the first example is the Mary Kom. She is the child for mother for 3 child, and also she is the first female boxer in India to become a world champion for 6 times. And she's the first boxer, either male or female. She won the 8 times the world championship. Because of the time management with the family as well as personal career, she became a great woman leader. Because of the time management dedications, the government of India has recognized her as a member of parliament in Rajya Sabha, as well as she's a woman boxer observer in India. Similarly, there are different women leaders that proved their skills and as well as their field as well. So if you talk about the second most important is that strong determination and focus and passion towards what they wanted it. This is the most important for the women leaders. So I talk about one of the main examples is that Annam Raja Malhotra, the first woman IAS officer, but she was denied to take the job because all the officer who sitting in the committee was the men leader, but she again determined towards and also focused towards, and she won for it, and she appointed as a deputy collector in the Madras state. But again, she denied because she was a woman. But she focused on the different management skills, and she learned many things. And now become, after seeing this management skills, the government is appointed as a deputy collector in the Trivandrum state in the Madras state. So similarly, there are many women leaders proved their leaders through their strong determination and passion and focus. And next quote is the most important thing is the intelligence and integrity and courageous towards the work what they do it. The most prominent woman leaders is the Dr. Gren Bedi, the first woman IPS officer. You just think about those time how the problem for the woman's leader. But during that time also she always courageous and what comes to it, she faced everything and she became one of the Deputy Director General for the Bureau of the Police as well as the always work against the woman crimes. So because of this integrity and as well as the courageous, she got the Raman Magsai Award, and later she became the first woman and the Indian woman to become a member of the United Nations Police and the advisor for the United Nations Police peace operations. So the fourth most important is the most important leadership skill for the woman's leader, the resilience. That I just want to put the two most eminent leaders. One of is our moderator, Dr. Usi Madam, is the one of best example for this one. And the second is the current Masmudar Shah, the chairperson and founder of the Biocon. She started as a brew master, but later she wanted to crow job in India, but she denied because she was a woman. But she started the company in the carriage, but she's not even got the employees, but she started with the employee, the 2 security staff. They crowned the company. Now she's become a multi-millionaire, and she is a board of governor in a lot of many institutions in India, not only India, in the foreign country as well. And the four most important skills needed for the woman leader, they proved it that the innovative thinking and as well as the effective communication. These are the best innovative thinker and the effective communicator. The best 2 examples today morning we talk about the 2 young emerging leaders. They told the Venisha as well as Aditya. They proved what their innovative thinking and they effectively they communicated what they wanted it, and they communicated with the government as well as not only the Indian government. They throughout the world they won several awards. These are the emerging leaders. And the most main thing for this innovative thing, the second most example I just wanted is that the current COVID-19 conditions. If you see the list of countries affected, first 10 countries, just 10 countries is led by the women leaders, men leader. But if you see the effectively controlled countries are led by the women leader, that won't be in any other examples. So I just want to like to convey that being a woman leader is not easy in the woman suppressing environment, but always a proved they are the better in that one. So final thing is that woman always a silent observer and always the powerful sword and backbone for the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Tile, for that. A virtual round of applause for Tile Shivkumar Natarajan from the land of Rajnikant. So I guess like he comes out with all his, wearing his glasses and everything else. So he's come in there with great examples of Mary Kom. To all the married people in this hall, I'd like to state that before marriage, I held my husband's hand in love, but after marriage, it became self-defense. So I guess like all married people understand what is self-defense, what is boxing, what kind of energy you should release in what forms, etc. So I can very well understand why Mary Kom won all those medals. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next speaker, who will be the last speaker who's speaking against the topic. When I spoke to this young lady who's so vibrant, she said, if I had not been a scientist, I should have loved to swim for a living. She is a great swimmer. We all love living on earth. This woman loves to live in water. She's somebody who says that the best things which are most exciting to her are long walks, long drives. She's a moonlight person. She's a sunlight person. She's full of adventure, and travel is her middle name. She believes that people should be treated with respect and dignity, which are two very important things which are leadership skills. Ladies and gentlemen, to someone who loves besan laddus and who's going to be talking about what do we really need to get better women leaders into the forum of science and technology, let's, with a great round of applause, welcome the last speaker who's speaking against our scientist Rashmi Sharma. Rashmi Sharma, it's all yours.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this warm introduction. I would have loved this introduction anyhow. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I am Rashmi, and I will be speaking against the topic and I would be focusing upon the systemic changes that are needed for women leadership. Mainstreaming gender is very important in all walks of life, specifically when we are talking about scientific leadership. Today, out of all the ages of the world, we require scientific leadership so as to integrate the science to the wider world in terms of not only patents and publication, but also in terms of the public opinion, to make people understand what is science and what science can deliver. I am in favor of male leadership. I'm speaking in favor of male leadership, but at the same point, I would be telling you why there is an encouragement of male leadership around, why we haven't seen enough female leaders, why we are at the dearth of female leaders, why when I was counting names of female leaders, there are only few female leaders around. And when we see around, there are so many male leaders. We can quote the father of the nation. Do we have a mother of the nation? No. So the country is driven by male. The world is driven by male, and so is the scientific society. If I talk about India, 16% of scientists in CSIR are female. CSIR is a big body, and 16% female, it doesn't go down well with me. So moving on, what are the changes that are required in the society to bring more women into the limelight, to bring more leaders? So first question is that why women leave such a fascinating field, which is so scientifically stimulating, which is so rewarding in terms of dignity, in terms of income, and in terms of well-being? It is not because they didn't want to do. It's because the society didn't allow them to do that. In 2013, there is a Yale study that provided that physicists, biologists, and chemists, they look at a male researcher as a more scientific leader than a female researcher with the same qualification. Two people of the same qualification, nothing different except from the gender. You see male, you see a scientific leader, you see a female, oh, she can't do much. How such difference of opinion comes to your mind? That is why we have so many male leaders. That is why we have a CSIR director board that is mainly dominated by male. We have the main institutes of our country have never been headed by females. Delhi University, JNU, University of Hyderabad, they have never been headed by a female leader. And same goes for the institute where I am sitting, where we have never seen a director that is female. But at the same time, what bogs us down, what brings female down, and why we leave the leadership position? Uh, there's an astrophysicist, Meg Array, which points out that the discrimination is not a thunderbolt. It is not out there. It is a very slow undercurrent. My female colleagues and my female researchers would completely agree to the point that whenever we raise a point versus any male counterpart raises a point, the point is not taken in the same manner, only because of the gender bias that people have in their mind. So there's a strong evidence that people have this direct set norms that female, as my opponent pointed, that they have soft skills, they go well with people and everything else. But why are you putting traits in the gender category? Why everyone can't lead? It's because we have stereotyped female in a way that we think that only they can do this and only they can do that. Larry Summers, who was president of Harvard, he pointed out, he said, and I quote, "Female can't be as good physicist as men can be." This implies to the fact that
30 seconds left.
This implies to the fact that the society is already so biased towards men. But at the same time, we need systemic changes to bring women to the forefront. And as I say, hands that can rock the cradle can rule the world. If given a chance, we can rule the world, which is already run by men. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rashmi, for those fantastic words. I would request everyone to please give them a virtual round of applause. Thank you so much for all the points. To all the debaters, most of you are stuck to time. So great lessons for all of us over here. Now to welcome the last speaker for the day, the opening batswoman and the tail ender batsman. So he needs to be really strong and drive home a point. Now this gentleman, he's not related to Preeti Zinta, but he's Gaurav Zinta. The only similarity they share is they own a dimple. So I just asked him, are you related in any way? So he's a scientist from Palampur. But when I asked him for some details about himself, I still don't see it in my email inbox. So I guess like he does have this, tendency not to listen to superiors and women in particular. So I would say that he's the only one who never responded. Everyone else did. So that itself speaks for the mindset of the individual. But with great respect, let me tell you, by the nature of him and the way he's always smiling, I would suggest that he's adaptable, he's adventurous, he likes to be somebody who's a non-conformist. Obviously, he's one of the backbenchers in his schools and college, I'm sure, because he loves mischief, he loves great fun. I'm sure that he's also equally affable as a person. It takes time though. With great amount of enthusiasm, even though we are virtual, your energy can always be felt, ladies and gentlemen. Give a thunderous round of applause and welcome the next.
Am I audible? Yeah. Thanks, Sushi ma'am, for this wonderful introduction. Good morning, jury members, organizers, panelists, and everyone who is connected with this virtual platform. My name is Dr. Gaurav Zinta. I'm a senior scientist at CSIR Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology, Palampur. I'm here to speak for the motion that women make great leaders. And we need systemic changes in the scientific institutions to promote women as leaders. So first of all, I have split this debate into three parts. First, I will highlight why and how leadership is important in science. Second one is, I will argue why women make great leaders by bringing a contrast in the qualities of men and women. Third, I will pinpoint on the specific systemic changes that are necessary to promote women leadership in scientific institutions. So science has a vital role in shaping our society and economy. The impact of science can be leveraged to create an innovative, sustainable, and prosperous future. Hence, we need leaders in science. Frequently, leadership skills are mistakenly equated with management skills, but I think this should not be the case. Women are considered to be more focused, disciplined, goal-oriented, and women are better at handling stress and pressure and are better in multitasking. These are the qualities of women which make them better leaders over men. Also, retention rate in any organization is higher in women if mentored well. According to a research conducted worldwide, women have been more successful in improving profit. For example, at the time of Indra Nooyi taking charge as CEO at PepsiCo, the company profit was increased from 2.7 billion to 6.5 billion within a year. So you can see what a women leadership can bring into any organization. So my friend from the opposition side, Mozi quoted various examples of men from the Indian past. But she forgot a few important, women. For example, Sushma Swaraj, our ex-minister of External Affairs, Kiran Majumdar Shaw, founder of Biocon to Indra Nooyi, founder of Biocon, and Indra Nooyi, CEO of PepsiCo, and Falguni Nayar, founder of CEO of Nykaa. Women have determined their success in the cutthroat industry by making a place for themselves in the male-dominated culture and business processes. They are shaping the future of tomorrow and leaving no stone unturned when it comes to holding a position of leadership. According to Grant Thornton's Women in Business report in 2019, there has been significant growth in women leadership roles from 20% in 2018 to 29% in 2019. Even with marking the biggest increase in the proportion of women in these roles around the globe, women are still fighting for their place in male-dominated workforce. Though education has helped reform the age-old thinking of society when it comes to women, so many levels, some challenges still exist which need to be taken care of. More and more women in leadership positions are pushing boundaries by utilizing their strengths, skills, knowledge, experience, and emotions. One thing is certain, women are powerful enough to mold our knowledge and to make conscious effort to make and live a happy life and aspire for it. So they are not just waiting for an opportunity. They are pursuing the things they want and seizing it. Taking the world by storm, the women who are stereotyped to be confined within the four walls of their homes are defining a future by breaking the generic norms and following their passion, contributing to the upliftment of the Indian education and scientific institutions. Women are achieving success not only for themselves, but for the betterment of the society. As a result, today women scientists are playing a leading role in strategic research in the fields of biotechnology, space technology, information technology. At the end, I would like to quote a quote from Marie Curie, who won a Nobel Prize twice in 1903 in physics and in chemistry. Life is not easy for any of us. We need to believe that we are gifted for something, and that is the thing we must be attained. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gaurav, and thank you, Swarna, for doing this awesome job. It's very difficult, and I'm sure that you are one of the main reasons why we are well within our time limits. I also would like to acknowledge Dr. Rita. I'm actually watching your smile, Dr. Rita Bhattacharya, and I think it really, really motivates me to keep smiling as well, because everyone seems to be very serious in this debate. So thank you so much for that ever smiling face, because I too need motivation to keep going on. So it's really great. All of you, thank you very much. We are giving 2 minutes to the judges to compile all the scores and all that. I would love to leave it to Atya now. I'm not very sure how she wants it done. Do you want the results declared now or after I give my briefing? I leave it to Atya to please let me know how she wants to go ahead.
Thank you so much, Ushi. Wonderfully conducted, and all the participants, well spoken. A big round of applause for you. What I would suggest now is that we will go ahead with Dr. Ushi Mohandas's talk, and meanwhile the judges are talking to each other. They will send us their decision, which Dr. Rakesh Kumar will announce after your talk.
Sure. So thank you very much for this opportunity once again. And I believe that all of you are in the middle of the afternoon. We don't want any gyan. And let me tell you that my hairline is in recession, my stomach is in inflation, and thereby it brings me great depression sometimes. I believe that at my age, it's a pleasure to be anywhere, thanks to my classmate and my real dear friend Atya, and of course Rakeshji, who I've met many, many times, and he still has the courage to call me once again. So I guess like people who speak the truth have lots of friends, but more enemies. I would also love to share with you my philosophy on something which I believe is the human-friendly approach. I believe that in the future, we cannot look at things as man and woman. Agreed, there might have been some lapses and it's a male-dominated society, male-dominated jobs, etc. But right from times immemorial, we were always taught that men were providers and ladies were providers of a different kind. So there is no real safety in this domain except for self-belief. Ladies and gentlemen, it's wrong to ascribe attributes to gender, saying that men can be strong and women will be weak. It's also very difficult and dangerous to ascribe strength to one gender because you're physically bigger. Strength primarily is that of the mind. And fortunately, men and women are gifted with a brain that's 1,200 grams that works 24/7, 365 days. And even after you're dead, it's still working for a couple of hours. Now, I always believe that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. If you agree to feel inferior, there will be 100 people who come out there and make you feel inferior. If you don't agree to be inferior in any way, no one can enable that feeling of inferiority in either a man or a woman. Everyone wants the rainbow, my dear friends, but no one wants to put up with the rain. In a world where people want to become thinner in one day, richer in 2 days, the only thing that shrunk in size was your TV screen. 90% of the world are sleep deprived because you're always watching movies on Netflix. After the COVID situation, people who wish to work at home no more wish to work at home. And the only reason is because in excess, even mother's love can become smother love. And it has nothing to do with the gender. It only has something to do with the person's feelings. If you enable a person free and effort and merit will play a very important part in you going above the ladder as you keep going along. It does not matter what you do for yourself in this world. It always matters what you do for others in this world. I believe biases exist. And it's very important that we remove the bias. The bias is primarily mental. And I think we need to own the bias. We need to retrain our brain to overcome this bias. We've spoken enough. And let me tell you, I've always lived in this world for many more years when compared to some of the young scientists. And I've never had a problem. And even if I've had a problem, I know how to navigate my problems. And I become very independent to other people's opinions. So we need to be prepared to react. One, it's a high fuse world out there. Even when the debate topic was announced, we had reaction instead of even understanding why. Okay, second, we need to move confidently. Any man or woman who's confident is always well received. We always need to understand there's a hairline of difference between aggression and assertion. Please don't cross that line in the belief that assertion can be also aggression. Assertion is somebody who really knows themselves. And aggression is someone who's always trying to put down what the other person knows. So I believe that it's extremely important to be confident. A very important point why all of you are gathered over here, ladies and gentlemen. We all need to be students of life. No scientist can stop to learn. No scientist can claim that I have now reached a position where I can only teach and I don't need to learn. I've always been a student of life. I'm ready to learn. I always believe I'm imperfect and I'm ready to handle my imperfections. Please do not attempt to become perfect. I think it's a very big damage that it can cause you and people around you. Because people who are aiming towards perfectionism become too ambitious. They become very dominating. You always find everyone else a threat because you do something in a particular way. The last and the most important trait, which many people lack, is giving credit when it's due. People shout and scream at 9 p.m. negative news. How come there's not a single channel which shouts and screams good news? We always are loud in our criticisms, but we're very soft on our appreciations. I believe the role should just change. And at some point, some people will take a 10-minute speech and give it 1 hour of delivery. I believe we need to be very conscious of each other's times. We also need to be very conscious about the fact that people may not agree with you. So what? It's your job being a smart communicator where you can persuade, you can inspire, you can collaborate, and very, very important, you can influence another human being. And I believe leadership is all about influence. Leadership is all about grace and fearlessness. Leadership is very importantly about responsibility. I believe when a man applied for a job, they asked him, what is your take on responsibility? He said, I'm very responsible because my boss always tells me if there's any problem in the office, I'm responsible. So he says, everyone gives me this title of being responsible. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to suggest few remedies, just 4 remedies that you can take away after today and my session. First one, you need to be aware of who you are. Understand who you are. It's important to spend time with you. Please understand that some jobs are incredibly secure because no one wants it. And the day someone wants it, there will be competition. We must change mindsets to collaborate and to co-opt with each other and not compete alone with each other. People use the word healthy competition. I don't believe in it. I also don't believe in the word constructive criticism. Criticism is damaging, period. And this is what everyone says. So I want you to remember one thing, ascertain what you want. If you're not keen on leadership, do not stop someone who is keen. So it's also very, very important that we understand it's all about your feeling and the environment in which you are feeling it. The most important, many people come and tell me, I wish I would have asked for it, but I just kept quiet. And by the way, I like to share this joke with you that men speak about 3,500 words in one day. Women speak about 7,000 words in one day. And for all you men who think women speak too much, let me tell you, the women have to repeat 3,500 words twice so that the man hears. And this is what happens to many of us. We stop asking. We stop listening. And very importantly, we stop caring. Leadership is about being completely caring and compassionate. Leadership is about putting you ahead of anything. Anything good, you take the credit. Or rather, we take the credit. Anything which is not so good, I take the responsibility. And when people start trusting each other, men or women, or any of the other genders, LGBTQ, A, B, C, D, whatever it is, I believe that the world becomes a superb place to stay. A superb place to pass through, a superb place to leave behind things which are good for other people. Most of you scientists are doing brilliant work. And let me end by telling you, you need to have an idea if you want to move to the next step of you. The competition is you with you. The competition is you versus you. And the only person you can ever beat in your life is you yourself. So how would you go forward to the next level of you? Remember the 3 A's that I discussed. Get more aware, ascertain what you want, and very important, please assert with a strong yes or strong no anything that you want and anything that you don't want. The idea that you can become a better version of yourself is very self-explanatory. I identify what you want in the next 6 months. D, develop contacts, develop methods, develop anything that you think is going to help you to go there, which means identify, develop. And extremely important, never be afraid to fail, never be afraid so that people see your vulnerabilities. We are all human beings, we are not gods. So what is this called? Experiment who you are. Experiment with failure. Experiment with something new. Always don't follow other people. When you follow the masses, sometimes the M is silent. You might end up following the asses. So be careful. All of us have a tendency of herd-like behavior, very important. Learn to move no matter what. It's called advance. IDEA, very important, and the 3 A's. If you can remember that, I would say it's just a matter of time before you and your success. It's just a matter of time before you and what you're going to leave behind for the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Atya in particular, all of my friends who already have met me sometime, I would look forward to being associated with all of you. I have my friend Amina also here as one of the judges. So it's a pleasure to remain. We were all friends in diapers. Now we are friends without diapers. So I believe that it's 40 years. Once again, unless you can change your thinking, you will only recycle your experience. It all starts with a thought. If you focus on hurt, you continue to suffer. If you focus on the lesson, you continue to grow. I want all of us to focus on the lessons and not on the hurt. At some point, we all have been hurt by men and women. So let's not point fingers. Let's not pat each other's backs. Friends like Atya are always with me because only a friend can kick you in your back. They can also pat you on your back. So I believe we can't do it to ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have done for ourselves dies with us. What you do for other people will always live forever. Back to you, Atya. And thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ushi. As usual, it was always a pleasure to listen to you. And now the judges have made their decision, and I will request Dr. Rakesh Kumar to announce the winners. But before he does that, I would just like to say that all of them, whoever is the winner, will be getting a certificate from us. Okay? So virtual prize. So now may I request Dr. Rakesh Kumar to please announce the winners.
Right. Thank you, Atya. First of all, thank you, Dr. Ushi, for sparing time and coming and joining us and all these young leaders. And I fully agree with you, it's not men and women. Emotional stability is what counts as leadership. This is my definition. Things keep changing. And of course, it's many times said that if there is a Sarpanch who was earlier winning 5 times, now his wife is placed, it's only because the wife was working behind and therefore he was successful. Thank you all for all the participants. They did a wonderful job of maintaining time as well as the discipline of speaking on a topic which was very intensely discussed otherwise also internally in our lab, otherwise even in households we discuss this issue all the time. So thank you all the participants, and special thanks to our 2 judges, one man and a woman, and both of them are very well known in their field. So both of them have discussed, and we have 2 winners. One is Dr. Rashmi Sharma from IIM Jammu. So big round of applause for her. And the second person is Dr. Tillai Natarajan from Central Leather Research Institute, Chennai. So congratulations to both of you. It's a special thing. You all stood up and made a point today, and it was very well fed by all of us here. And thank you for being in this journey of debating. And I hope that this debate continues offline or wherever we wish. So thank you very much. And I close here from my side. Dr. Atya, it's your job now.
Yeah. And now Dr. Swarnalata from CLRI will propose the vote.
Atya, I have a small request.
Yeah.
Could you please all switch on your cameras? I would just love to take a nice screenshot. Many of you are sitting behind your cameras. So yes, it looks nicer when probably all of you switch on your cameras. Sufla, switch on your camera, please. Shekhar ji, Srinivas Reddy ji, Uma Shankar ji, whoever is here, please request all of you to please just switch on your cameras. It's very important as human beings that we see each other. Thank you, thank you, thank you, means a lot. Yes. So can you give me a big smile and show me your teeth? Take off your mask, lovely lady, Ananta. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Please give me a smile and a thumbs up. Anything? Great, great. So one more. 1, 2, and 3. Great. I'm done. I'm done. Back to you, Adya.
Thank you. And now we have come to the end of this wonderful morning session. And Swarnalata will now propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all dignitaries, scientists, students, and participants. We had more eminent speakers in this module with good interactions and more inspirational and motivational talks. Gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. Now it is time to express our gratitude. Our first and foremost thanks to our first member of our CSIR family, our Director General, who took his valuable time to be a part of this module, inspiring the younger generation. We remain truly inspired, sir. Thank you, sir. Our sincere gratitude to the Director of CSIR-NEERI, CSIR-CLRI, CSIR-NGRI, CSIR-NPL, CSIR-IIIM for the wonderful support they rendered for smooth functioning of the conclave and also for patiently answering the questions to the all the students in spite of their busy schedule. Due to some time limit, we couldn't able to post or ask all the questions. Thank you all, sir. Our special thanks to Professor Jyoti and Dr. Gananti Kak, but we somehow missed Dr. Kak. And we really thank their valuable presence and interacting and answering them. And also we specially thank Professor Jyoti who took the extra questions from which is posted to Dr. Kang also. Thank you, madam. And my heartfelt thanks to both young innovators, Venisha Umashankar and Adya Joshi, for their being with us, explaining their contribution to society, interacting with us. You both proved Einstein's words that the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge but imaginations. I should definitely thank your parents also. Without them, these young innovators may not be here with us here. Our another special thanks to Dr. Ushi Mohandas, who spent their precious time in moderating and making the debate in a more lively manner and giving us the motivational talk. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And our sincere thanks to the jury members, Mrs. Aminavali and Dr. Vijay Kulkarni, for spending their valuable time and judging the participants. I thank all the debate participants who cooperated well with us and participated in a more enthusiastic way in the debate. Thank you, one and all. I would be failing in my duty if I did not acknowledge and thank our coordinators, Dr. Atya Kaple, Dr. Ankita Bore, Dr. Leena, and Dr. Kasturi Mandal for such a meticulous planning of this event, and Dr. Atya Kaple especially for this module. She prepared well, all of us. And I would also like to thank all the members of the organizing committee for their wonderful support. And I take this opportunity to mention the enormous service rendered by staff, students, and especially service departments of CSIR-NEERI, who all put their tireless efforts in conducting the module. Last but not the least, I thank all the audience and participants for their enthusiastic participation. Without you, all this module wouldn't be a success. Thanks to one and all.
Thank you, Swarna, and thank you all for attending. We've come to the end of this very exciting morning, and we really had a wonderful session, summed up very nicely by Swarna, so I won't repeat it. Thank you, Vinisha and Adya, for joining us, and thanks to everybody. I saw Rita ma'am also from Shakti. Thank you, ma'am, for staying with us till the end. And
thanks, Rita ma'am. Thank you very much, Rita ma'am.
Okay, everyone. So with that,
so big round of applause to all the women part today. Atya, you directed me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.